Okay, continuing with our professionalism series, Building Your Personal Brand. This is part 2 of our topic of business meals and the etiquette that you demonstrate or observe during business meals. So in this video, we want to talk about the logistics of what goes on at the table once you have a seat at the business meal. So to start with, where do you sit? Okay, generally you're going to work this out ahead of time for the business meal as to who needs to sit next to who and have this plan ahead of time. Of course, you'll need to know whether it's a square table, a rectangular table, circular table type scenario. If it's an evening, more formal business meal where you have your significant other with you, generally you'll have your significant other to your right hand side at the meal. So once again, you'll just simply need to plan this ahead of time as to where to sit, and if you're the one doing the planning, you can orchestrate where people sit for the meal for a specific purpose. Okay, so the important part here is, once again, having a predetermination of this and planning ahead, okay, and then you being the orchestrator. All right, once you get at the table, sitting up straight is important. Don't slouch. Generally, you do not lean back in the chair either. You sit up straight, more towards the front of the chair, so that you act engaged the entire time. It allows you to appropriately use the silverware for the different courses and things, which once again is part of a more formal dining experience. But think to yourself, legs together, feet on the floor, back straight, slightly leaning forward off the back of the chair, to engage others at the dinner table and enjoy the meal. Okay, your napkin will be on the table in front of you when you go to have a seat. One thing to say there is, make sure to pull out the chair for your significant other. Generally, it's customary for men to pull out the chair for women and to slide it in as they have a seat, and then to take their seat. It's also customary for gentlemen at the table to stand as ladies come to the table and have a seat. And generally, this is a more formal dining, obviously, and these are simple rules of etiquette. They are not observed everywhere, and I suppose in some cases it could even be seen as somewhat sexist and offensive, but these are historical practices or rules of etiquette that have traditionally been observed at the table. So just keep that in mind. Okay, the napkin will be at the table in front of you. When you have a seat, put the napkin in your lap. Okay, the napkin does not go back on the table until you are done with the meal. Okay, if you go to the restroom or something, you ask to be excused first, you stand, you put your napkin in your seat, okay, and then you replace it when you get back. Silverware is always arranged according to the courses of meal. In a less formal environment, you may only have 2 forks or 1 fork and a butter knife. Fork always goes on the left-hand side, the knife on the right-hand side. The more courses to the meal you have, the more silverware you'll add. You'll have a salad fork, perhaps an appetizer fork, a soup spoon, a small knife on the plate to spread butter, a larger butter knife generally used to cut salad with. If you order a piece of meat that needs a serrated or sharp knife, you'll be provided that at the time that meal is delivered. Okay, but generally the best way to approach it is you go outward in with regard to your silverware and the courses that are there. But just understand that that however many courses you're going to have, be prepared for the silverware that's there, and to be able to identify the shape of the fork that goes with the salad versus the shape of the fork that goes with the main meal. Okay, chewing, as you know, as we learn as children, chew with your mouth closed. Do not talk while chewing. If you do have to say something while chewing, you use your napkin to cover up your mouth as you say it, type scenario. Other things, some things will be more difficult to chew than others. Just remember this, always chew everything up fully before you put another bite of food in your mouth. Okay, again, that sounds like something we learned as kids, but oftentimes it's disregarded. People are eating more quickly. They keep food in their cheek or in their jaw, and they put more food in before they swallow. So make certain not to do that. Okay, and once again, you are able. American style is often you'll put food in your mouth. It's not uncommon to lay the fork down in between chewing, especially if you're going to wipe your mouth with a napkin. European style is more you hold the knife in the right hand and the fork in your left hand, and you manage the meal the entire time that way. Okay, it's where it's where American style you perhaps cut your meat, change hands to your dominant hand with the fork, and then use that. Okay, so those are just two different approaches there. Okay, how to signal when you're finished. In lower scale restaurants, you can generally just put your napkin on the table. Generally, it's not customary or bad practice to slide away your plate. Or to begin stacking your plates. Don't do that. Rather, put your knife and fork straight up and down, parallel to each other in the plate. That signals to waiters universally that you're done. Also, putting your napkin on the table or putting in your plate, or putting your napkin on the table and crossing your silverware on that napkin is as well a signal that you are done with the meal. And generally, in nicer restaurants, no to-go plates. Okay, not during business meals. During personal meals, fine, but generally it is not professional to ask for a to-go plate. You eat what's there, enjoy it, and then move on, even if there is leftovers. Okay, so these are general etiquette features. We're going to talk more about meal service, process, and dinner conversations in our next videos.